This is where the fun begins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Star Wars Power Half Hour right here on the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is David, and, week to week, I'm going to be taking you through something that I'm not real well versed in, comic books. So the Star Wars Power Half Hour kind of started as a stopgap when me and the Darth couldn't get together for our normal weekly episode. However, after thinking about it and some good feedback from friends and folks who listen to the show, I decided that I would go ahead and make this an actual weekly episode to drop on Thursdays. I think it's a great opportunity to get myself into a source that, comics to me when I was a kid just weren't long enough. I wanted long books. I wanted bigger things. But nowadays, I see these comics as having these lush little nuggets in them that really accentuate the universe of Star Wars. And it's definitely something I want to get further into. And we shall, again, week to week on the Power Half Hour. So again, I want to thank you all for joining me. This week, we are going over the third Age of Resistance comic, The Special. This has a story from Maz, a story of Holdo, and a story of BB8 and Poe Dameron. So very excited to get into this. It was a lot of fun. It was actually very fun to read. But first, I want to go over just a little bit of news that dropped here recently. Now, there are two books that dropped this month. They are coming tomorrow, I believe. The first, Star Wars Myths and Fables. This is written by George Mann. And let's see here, we got a little synopsis. Travel to the far reaches of the Star Wars universe, including to the remote outer rim world of Batuu from Galaxy's Edge. With this unique treasury of in-world space tales, featuring lush illustrations, this beautiful collection includes 9 original fairy tales, myths, and fables passed down through generations, spanning millennia. Carried from planet to planet, these are the legends that bind the galaxy together. So, let's just start with, let's go. I love it. I think this could be really, really cool. I think that there is the possibility that these won't necessarily be full factoids. I love storytelling. I actually do love myths and fables. Our history is built on myths and fables and so forth. And the biggest thing that you have to take away just from the front cover of this is there's like a blue dragon. It looks like we have, potentially a Jedi, but somebody in a cloak. He's got a blue lightsaber. And then there's just this blue dragon on a planet that has, potentially 2 moons. So it's definitely not necessarily Star Wars-esque. It's way more like Game of Thrones sci-fi kind of feel, but it should be very interesting. I don't know. What did it say here? 9 tales. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect, but I'm really, really excited about it. They really are pushing Batuu, though. Got to get that Galaxy's Edge going. But again, that's coming tomorrow, so I'm very, very interested in that. Now, the second book that dropped, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, A Crash of Fate. When I originally went to look this up, I kept putting in Clash of Fate. A Crash of Fate. It's not a Clash of Fate. This is written by oh my goodness, I don't like pronunciating. Zoraida Cordova. Sorry if I butchered that. And a brief synopsis here. Izzy and Jules were best friends until Izzy's family abruptly left Batuu, when she was 6. But now she's back, and Jules, the boy who never left, is unsure what to make of her. While on the run from vengeful smugglers and an angry pirate, just one pirate, Jules and Izzy will come to terms with who they are and what they mean to each other. So I think I read another preview that was a little bit more lovey-dovey, kind of like relationship-y type stuff. So these are both young readers, young adult fiction books. So that's something to keep in mind. But it should be fun. I'm very interested to see what this is. The other thing too, I want to talk about the cover a little bit of A Crash of Fate. It also has a strange vibe to it. It doesn't really look Star Warsy to me. It kind of looks like I don't know, guys. I don't really want to describe too much. You guys can see it. Maybe I'm just looking too, but it just doesn't look Star Warsy to me. Again, it kind of looks like a little bit of fantasy world with like 2 TIE fighters. So, but I'm not nitpicking. I'm definitely interested in these. I want to see what the 2 of these do bring. Now, another thing that dropped today was, issue 70 of Star Wars comic. Rebels and Rogues, Honeymooners. This little sub caption. And we basically have like Han and Leia look like they're entering a room and they've got their little dog thing on a leash. Or maybe that's one of the guests here, but there's some interesting guests. Again, not super well versed on the comics. I'm just going to start picking up what I can so I can, really, really immerse and also bring some stuff to you guys. One other thing that I saw today, and this has me more jazzed than anything. The Secrets of the Jedi. This is an article directly from StarWars.com. Let's see. Prepare Padawan to learn from a legend. StarWars.com is excited to reveal Star Wars: The Secrets of the Jedi, a new book from author Mark Summerack, chronicling the history of the Jedi Order with Luke Skywalker as your guide. This is dropping November 19th. The tome is filled with lush paintings. Isn't this like the second time I've heard the word lush? Lush. I don't think I've ever used that word that much in my life. But anyway, lush paintings and special interactive features, including a pop-up holocron. Oh my God, a pop-up. A translator card, a Jedi equipment booklet, and more. You can get a first look exclusive to StarWars.com. They do have a couple of excerpts here. I haven't really read through these, but the cover is it's epic. You have, the top section, you've got Luke, Rey, Obi-Wan in his Clone Wars armor, which is BA, one of my favorites. And then at the bottom here, you've got several of the Jedi Masters from the Clone Wars era, Qui-Gon, Mace, Anakin's down there, Yoda, several others. So very, very interesting. And this is a little bit of an excerpt from the writer. It's always a great pleasure to get to return to a galaxy far, far away for another project. But having the chance to explore the path of the fabled Jedi Order through Luke's eyes was an honor like none I've ever seen before. The Skywalker saga has always been such a crucial piece of my own personal pop culture landscape over the years. So being able to write this book in the words of Luke himself was a dream come true. Let's see here. The Secrets of the Jedi promises to be expansive, incorporating lore from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the Star Wars movies, and beyond. To see Luke Skywalker address the Force priestesses from Clone Wars and other iconic Jedi like Qui-Gon Jinn is especially surprising and sure to intrigue fans new and old. Again, November 19th. This really, really looks cool. It could confirm a couple of things. If you follow the Twitter, you can find us at TC Plan Podcast, or just look up the Contiengecy Plan Podcast on Twitter. Follow us. I've been reading some theories. I've been reading some things that people have been pointing out, and they're starting to say, it's like this would seem to confirm, it could possibly confirm that Luke's been talking to Yoda and Obi-Wan and even his father Anakin for years, guys. And the interesting thing for that, at least for me, is think about Luke talking to his father, talking to Anakin Skywalker for years. Could this potentially be a tie-in for Ben's obsession with his grandfather? It could be, but then they also dropped that little subtle, Qui-Gon. I would just die if we had something with Luke and Qui-Gon just chatting it up together. That would be so cool. So cool. So I am really super interested in that. November is going to be a huge month for just Star Wars everything. We got Jedi Fallen Order, that collector novel, and then Resistance Reborn, I think is what it was called. We have a ton. And I mean, we still have Black Spire this month from Delilah Dawson. We've got a ton of media to get to, and November is going to be a huge month. But anyway, let's go ahead and pop into the Age of Resistance special. Let's start with the cover. So the cover is actually really cool. So we've got Maz on the left. We've got BB8 in the front here. And then we've got Holdo, who's, definitely captured the largest here, purple hair. Definitely the actress from the movie, illustration. Now, in the comic, she's illustrated a little bit differently, which I'm fine with. It actually kind of harkens back a little bit more to kind of who I felt Holdo was, aside from who we got in portrayal of the movie. And I don't want to be critical. We'll talk about it as we go. But let's first start with Maz's story here. So we start on the Millennium Falcon. In wild space, Maz has a little projection here of somebody who she's hunting. He's a Devaronian, can't pronounce anything. Today, his name is Baron Samariva. He's not a baron of anything. He just likes the name. And he's bullied everyone into calling him that. He stole something from me. I want it back. Han asks, why us, Maz? Partly because you're cheap. Mostly because this is a hit and run operation, Han. Chewbacca hits very hard. And you run away better than anyone I've ever known. I'm going to take that as a compliment. How delusional. Good for you. Han just always, God, they always make so much fun of him. So we head to, did they even say the planet's name? They just call it the ice planet here. And once they get on the planet, they have this little moon rover thing that they get into. And they go to assault this, this little tower, I guess, where the Baron is hiding. Now, they do have a couple laser cannons, and Maz instructs Han to just punch it. Just go straight for the wall and go right through, which they do. Break on through to the other side, right into battle. We've got a couple thugs here. Han and Chewie kind of take them on, and Maz runs up the set of stairs to, deal with the Baron. There was an interesting little thing here where Han says to Chewie, "What is with you two?" I can't make Chewie noises, sorry. Whoa, too much information, pal. Better left to the imagination. Because, there's always been a weird thing between it's not weird. It's just there's always been a thing between Maz and Chewie, and there you go. However, Chewie smells something, and he goes running after Maz as Han continues to level his blaster at these thugs. Samariva. It's Baron Samariva, Maz. This is a pleasant surprise. Aside from the hole you put in my castle. This isn't a castle. This whole place is held together by ice. Your castle is one warm day away from being a puddle. Now return the item to me. You'll never find it. You've put it behind your chair. Okay, well, you'll never take it. And we see a couple of thugs here show up with their blasters behind some walls of ice here. I I know your reputation, Maz, but I'm not scared. You should be scared, not just because I could easily take all of you, which is awesome, but because he's coming and you're wearing a Wookiee pelt. And that's something you see here. He's wearing a fur coat, but obviously we figure out that it's Wookiee. And in barges Chewbacca, Bo Caster, just, shooting everybody. And then we get this basically almost full page illustration. So Chewbacca's, in a rage, rocks are everywhere, shooting everything. And Maz is like on his shoulders with dual blasters just going crazy. And then we turn the page. Here's your payment. This is more than we agreed on. Yes, well, I had a separate price on summary of his head, and Chewie took care of his head. What did we do this for? What did they take? What did they take? The Sith-serving sadist who once wore this also liked questions. All you need to know, Han, is everything we take from the dark side allows the light to shine a little brighter. And we see this, in this little box, it's a helmet. And upon a little bit more review, because I didn't, it looked familiar, but I couldn't think of what it was. So this is a special adjutant's helmet. And I don't know if they've necessarily been in canon, I guess. They're Jedi hunters. The Jedi hunter, known as the Grand Inquisitor, once wore one of these helmets, piloting his TIE fighter. Okay, no, I guess they have been. They've been in Rebels. Interesting. So they've been in Rebels before, and then this is 2 episodes of Rebels, and then now in this comic. So potentially a Jedi hunter here. Pretty menacing looking helmet, honestly. So should be interesting. And this again, this kind of like, it solidifies this whole collector mentality of Maz. It's like, well, listen, she had Luke's lightsaber. How did she get that? Well, obviously Maz collects a ton of stuff. She's out there just getting helmets and everything. Who knows what else she has? Hopefully we get more of her, because we got a little bit of her in Force Awakens and even less in The Last Jedi. So anyway, we move on to Holdo's story. Let's see. Alliance arms smuggling ship, the Candor, in deep space. Holdo's staring at this weird little pet shop of horrors plant thing. And there's it's going, I don't know, it's making a lot of noise, and you see the outside of her quarters, and we got 2 guys with just carrying some stuff. What's going on in there? That is Holdo's room. Let's see. Amelin Holdo, is that her first name? I guess I've never really heard her first name pronounced, but that's what it looks like. Let's see. Holdo, wasn't she an apprentice senator? She was. Now, as far as I can tell, she catches rides on Alliance ships, gives the occasional anti-imperial speech, and dyes her hair with the Morrigan snap plants. So apparently she uses this plant to dye her hair, which is interesting. What's she doing all the way out here? Search me. Not hauling ordnance across 5 whole decks, I can tell you that much. Hardy har har. I didn't really get too much into Holdo, but like, I know she kind of has a bit more spacey kind of vibe, I guess. I remember, who was it? I think Brandon from Clashing Sabers once pointed this out as more like a Luna Lovegood character, if you're into Harry Potter. Let's see. I did not read Leia, Princess of Alderaan, and if I remember correctly, she was in that, featured in that book. I really need to get into that, but I just haven't yet. So, I don't know. She's just dyeing her hair. So now she's purple. However, in our next panel here, we actually have, the entire room gets overturned. They were hit. And, in our next panel, we have a Star Destroyer. It shows up and fired a shot at him. We have some panic here. Gorth, sir, I need a damage report now. It's no use, sir. The whole bridge is compromised. This is kind of interesting. So then we have Holdo like literally like taking on a door, just wrenching open a door, which is kind of funny. So Holdo then runs to the bridge. The captain is dead. So Holdo barges in. Is the ion drive still functional? Huh? Minister Holdo, you should be below decks. It isn't safe up here. Poor Jardar. Who? Don't despair. He is one with the Force now. It is we who need every advantage we can get. Run diagnostics. Prepare to engage sublight propulsion systems. What? I am now the highest ranking person on this ship. Do you want to live or not? If I am not mistaken, that bump we just felt was our tractor beam engaging. It's time to make the decision. Sir, yes, sir. Engaging ion drive. Turn us 90 degrees towards their hull. That will point us into the Imperial ship. I'm aware of that, but as long as we're in the trail of that tractor beam, we can only move one way. On my mark, fire right into the cargo bay they've kindly opened up for us. But on my mark, fire. Again, and you see some really sweet graphics in the firing into this cargo bay. I can't believe it. We punched straight through their hull, and they are able to get away, break the tractor beam's hold. What a move! That was 1 in a million. Sir, we shouldn't have doubted you. We hesitated, and it cost us vital seconds. It could have cost us our lives. Well, we didn't know each other very well an hour ago. That's the trouble with first impressions. You can only make them once. But now I hope we understand each other. And then we get a hollow. Captain Jardar, we have received your distress signal. What is your status? I'm afraid Captain Jardar is dead. The Kandor sustained heavy damage from a surprise encounter with their Star Destroyer, but we disabled the Imperial warship and are now en route to the base for repairs. Disabled an Imperial warship with a tiny smuggling vessel? Yes, sir. Well. It seems your friend Princess Leia Organa was right about you. Excellent work, Captain Holdo. May the Force be with you. Right. Set a course for the repair base. We have work to do. There's one thing about this that, I kind of, in my first read, I kind of took a little bit to heart here. So I think part of the reason why Holdo took so much flack in The Last Jedi was because she kind of barged on to the ship. Nobody knew who she was aside from Leia. Leia's hurt. She's the highest ranking potential, military person here. Nobody knows her qualifications though. And you have Poe, who's a crack pilot, who essentially was Leia's right-hand man for the most part. And natural secession kind of works that way, and then also because they're rebels, they're still rebels. They're not like the Imperials. The Imperials, because at that point she's an admiral. She's Admiral Holdo. This point she's a captain. So the whole thing is that if an admiral shows up on an Imperial ship, that's it. Doesn't matter who they are, he, she, whatever. They're an admiral. We listen to them because we're Imperials. The rebels are not like that. They're not strictly speaking anarchy on a ship, but at the same time, they want to think for themselves. That's how they defeated the Empire. They were a little bit more splintered. So one thing I'll point out here is that, and I hate to be nitpicky, but this comic proves, unfortunately, how little she seemed to learn in between these two encounters. She barges onto the bridge. She obviously has some authority, some leadership skills, which is great. But, again, they don't know who she is. They think she's a minister, whatever, some envoy. We didn't figure out she was a captain until this hologram pops up and says, "Good work, Captain Holdo." She doesn't identify herself, and I think that's a bit of a detriment. I mean, literally in this scenario, she was able to take control of the situation to save them, but in The Last Jedi, she was literally mutinied against. And it's not that her plan was bad. It was just she didn't give the trust first. And I think that that's something that, unfortunately, you have to have. She's in her room here just dyeing her hair, but she's not necessarily engaging. And, I'm a captain. If Captain, Jar Jar here is dead, I'm the highest ranking person here, right? But in the grand scheme of things, that's really not how most militaries work. Where's the first officer of the ship? If I had the first officer of the ship and random purple hair lady shows up, I'm going to be like, you need to calm down. I'm the first officer. So the first officer also died. Do they not have a first officer? Come on. So I think it's a really cool story because she was able to take control, get in there, get gung-ho, pulls off a great maneuver, and was able to escape a Star Destroyer, which should have blew him out of the water. So that's a really cool story for Holdo. I just, it unfortunately reinforces the character from The Last Jedi, but it doesn't show that she learned anything from past experiences. It's like, and admittedly, this was written after the fact, but at the same token, this was very much like, if you're going to give me backstory, hopefully you've built in a way for her to learn from it. And unfortunately, that didn't happen, but still pulled off one of the coolest maneuvers in cinema history by hitting light speed straight in that dreadnought. That was awesome. So anyway, third and final story. This is a little Poe and BB8, and it actually has one of the funniest panels in the world. So anyway, we are on, I'm going to say Hosh. There's a J, but I feel like it's a silent J. So Jhosh. We're going to say Hosh. The Flanagan system. Jahosh and the Flanagan system. All right. This was the easy part. With this stolen First Order cargo ship, getting here was painless. Getting what we want won't be if you're not careful. Break into the data center, download their troop movements, and get out. And even though you won't stand out, you should really be discreet. And it shows this panel of Poe, and he's got like the cheesiest look on his face. It's like, I wish I had video on this, but you really need to look at it, and I think you'll understand what I'm saying. But it's just this really weird grin going on. It's kind of like one of those cheesy 80s movies where the guy with the mullet and the mustache is trying to pick up the hot blonde or something. It's a weird panel. But anyway, BB-8 is attempting to infiltrate this base and get some troop movements and some data and information. And Poe is kind of talking him through this mission. However, BB-8 runs into a First Order trooper who's zapping another droid. There's actually a sort of a droid, I guess a droid bay. You droids will learn who your masters are and zapping them. And BB-8 just isn't having it. He's got a little what was it, L3? Little L3. Freedom! You will do what we tell you or this will get worse. No, you'll blow our cover. I promise. Once we get the data, we can. And then BB-8 zaps the trooper. This is actually really cool couple panels here. The artwork is really awesome. So BB-8 basically frees the droids. Little droid revolution, and he wheels on out of there, plugs in, and attempts to get the data. However, two more troopers come up on him and put a restraining bolt on him. Don't worry, I'm coming, little buddy. And Poe is attempting to come down and rescue his friend. However, right as the First Order is getting ready to take BB-8, they both get zapped. And a little droid hand comes in and takes off the restraining bolt. So the droids that he helped are helping him out. And they're starting a little revolution. I love this. They're just going around zapping everybody. It's there's this droid in this one panel. He's got like little legs and arms. He's just waddling around. Oh my God, it's so good. So in the command center, I would suppose, Commander, I'm getting alerts from all over the base. We're under attack. Attack from whom? And then we see little panels of droids. They're putting little detonators everywhere. Commander, detonators are going off all around the base. Explosions are detected in the power core. Sound the alarm. Evacuate the base now. And then you see all the droids just wheeling on out of there, and a large explosion. Poe thinks BB-8 is dead. He drops to his knees, but here comes BB-8 just zooming on in. Surprise! What surprise? So we have a return too soon. Resistance Base LX. Robusun V4. Okay, interesting. So, long name. Welcome back, Commander. Were you successful? I guess General Organa, but all credit goes to BB-8. Besides gathering the data, the base was destroyed, and the First Order Command won't know we were there. Also, we were able to add some new recruits to the Resistance. They're the ones who saved the day. They turned the First Order and saved BB-8. Well, the Resistance owes you a great debt. Thank you. Welcome to our new robot Resistance. I got to throw in a little bit of cheese there, but I'll tell you, if there was anything, I got to say, I didn't so much like the illustrations of Poe. There's just a couple of faces. There's another one here where he kind of looks like Ash from The Evil Dead, kind of like got a whoa face on. And then the very last panel, I don't know. It's just the illustration of him is a little cheesy. So anyway, that was the end of that story. God, I really hope you guys are enjoying this. Along with me. I'm super enjoying it. I'm having a heck of a time going through these. It's been a lot of fun. But coming up, we do have the Age of Rebellion that I got to go through, and the Age of the Age of Republic as well. Also have the Darth Vader comics, Marvel Darth Vader comics, the run from 2017 to 2019. We're going to go through those. Shattered Empire, I also want to go through those. And, anything else we get into. If you would like to leave suggestions for comics that you might want to see on the show, hit me up on Twitter. Again, at TC Plan Podcast. Find us on there, and to be more than happy to incorporate comics that you want to go through, you want to discuss. But yeah, I'm into it. Even if you don't really want to, just give me suggestions, because I need to know more about the comic universe, because I'm not well versed, and I want to get as well versed as humanly possible. Well, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of the Star Wars Power Half Hour. I really hope you enjoyed it. I have a good time doing these, and hopefully they're good for you. So join me every Thursday as we enjoy another Star Wars Power Half Hour. We should see a couple of friends and some other folks joining me as well, potentially, to go through the universe of comic books. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. May the Force be with you.